Cars sped past without a glance. People whispered, judged, and walked on. An old woman stood trembling at the curb, invisible to the rushing city. Then a poor barefoot black teen stepped forward, offering nothing but his hand. What happened next stunned a billionaire and changed lives forever. Before we begin this powerful story, make sure to subscribe to Blackish Focus. Your support helps us share more emotional, motivational, and true stories that inspire and uplift. The city moved as it always did, fast, loud, blind. Engines roared, horns blared, people hurried past with coffee cups and glowing screens. At the edge of the crossing stood a frail old woman, clutching her cane, shrinking more with every second of indifference. She raised her hand once, but froze. Her shoes shuffled back, her lips pressed tight, trying not to cry. Strangers saw her but kept walking. Some muttered, "Poor thing, not my problem." Others pulled their children away, embarrassed by her presence. The saddest part wasn't her fear of crossing. It was the way she seemed to disappear in plain sight, erased by every ignored glance. Across the street lingered Jamal, a 15-year-old black teen in a torn hoodie and bare feet. His paper cup rattled with coins, pennies, and nickels that barely bought food, never enough for medicine. His mother lay sick in a hospital bed, and every coin he begged for went toward her care. People avoided him too. They clutched their bags, sneered, or pretended he didn't exist. He was just another shadow in the city, invisible like the old woman. But his eyes noticed her trembling at the curb. He could have walked on, he had enough burdens of his own. Yet something in his chest pulled harder than hunger. Jamal stepped closer. Whispers rose from the crowd. "Where's that kid going?" "He's probably asking her for money." But Jamal ignored them. He reached out a small, dirty hand. At first, the woman recoiled. But then she looked into his eyes. Not pity, not mockery, just quiet courage. She placed her wrinkled hand in his, and together they waited for the break in traffic. When the light changed, engines revved impatiently, horns blared angrily. But Jamal tightened his grip, shielding her with his thin frame as they stepped into the street. A car lurched forward. Gasps erupted. Jamal raised his free hand, palm out, his eyes sharp. The driver froze. Step by step, they crossed. The woman's cane tapped against the paint of the crosswalk, her trembling eased by the boy's steady hand. By the time they reached the other curb, the city itself seemed to pause. That's when a sleek black car rolled to a stop. Its tinted window lowered, and a tall man in a tailored suit stepped out. His polished shoes clicked against the pavement, his gaze frozen on the sight before him. His breath caught. Mother. It was his own mother, the woman the city ignored, helped not by polished professionals or rushing strangers, but by a barefoot boy with nothing. The billionaire's world shifted in an instant. The old woman's hand lingered around Jamal's. She whispered softly. He didn't have to stop, but he did. Everyone else turned away. The billionaire's chest tightened. He studied Jamal, not as a stranger, but as a reflection of a past he thought he had buried. "Where are your parents?" the man asked gently. Jamal swallowed. His voice was quiet but steady. "It's just my mom. She's in the hospital. She's sick. I try to get money for her medicine, but it's never enough. I beg. I run errands. Sometimes I skip meals so she can eat. But the bills keep piling. I don't think she has much time left." The crowd around them fell silent. Even the impatient city seemed to listen. The old woman's eyes filled with tears as she whispered to her son, "He reminds me of you long ago, when someone helped us." The billionaire's jaw tightened. In that moment, Jamal was no longer just a beggar. He was a boy carrying a weight no child should bear. That night, Jamal sat by his mother's bed in the dim hospital room, clutching her cold hand, whispering promises he wasn't sure he could keep. Then the door opened. The billionaire stepped in, his mother at his side, nurses and doctors rushing behind them. Jamal jumped up, confused, ready to protect his mother. But the old woman placed a hand on his shoulder. "It's all right. We're here for her." In moments, new medication was arranged. Treatments that had been denied were finally given. Machines beeped steady, Color returned to his mother's face, and for the first time in months, hope filled the room. The billionaire placed a hand on Jamal's shoulder. His voice was soft but firm. From today on, her bills are mine. She will get the best care. And so will you. No child should have to carry this alone. Weeks passed, and Jamal's world transformed. His mother grew stronger, walking again. Jamal no longer begged barefoot on the streets. He studied, ate full meals, and wore clean clothes. But even with his new life, he carried the memory of that afternoon, the moment he chose kindness when no one else did. A simple act overlooked by the city had unlocked a future no one expected. The city forgot. Strangers moved on. But for the billionaire, for his mother, and for Jamal, that moment remained. Because sometimes destiny doesn't arrive in grand gestures. Sometimes it begins with nothing more than a hand reaching across a busy street. And sometimes the smallest act of kindness changes everything. If Jamal's story touched your heart, remember this: compassion can rewrite lives. Never underestimate the power of stopping when no one else will. Subscribe to Blackish Focus for more emotional, true, and motivational stories that remind us humanity still exists.